Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Thursday, June 29th, 2023. This is live stream 939. If you are not too familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally we'll take a first look at a game. Every once in a while, I'll do a live review here on the show. But we are certainly not experimenting with rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, having some fun. And tonight, we are going to dive on in and unbox and take a first look at Dreams and Machines, the RPG starter set from Modiphius Entertainment. As far as I understand, this is not arriving until August 3rd. It is a Gen Con premiere for Modiphius Entertainment. I think it's going to end up in stores on the same date. But we got an early copy, so we're going to take a peek inside. I am intrigued. I understand it is part of the 2D20 line from Modiphius Entertainment, and we will learn far more as we jump on in. So, do want to mention, if you are tuning in and you're not overly familiar with this show, and you're watching live because you want to see Dreams and Machines, let me point out we tackled the tabletop gaming news of the day first around here. So it'll probably be, I'd say 45 minutes before we get into that unboxing. So if you are watching live, put your feet up, relax. Almost to the weekend. It's Thursday night. Well, at least it's Thursday night here in the Duct Tape Studios. Don't know what day it might be in your neck of the woods. For all I know, it could be Friday for some of you. But just kick back, relax. We'll get to it. If you're super impatient and you happen to be watching this 30 minutes or more after the show is ended, there will be timestamps. So you can jump right past the tabletop gaming news if you have to, if you feel you must. Although I've got some good news tonight. I always have cool news. But there will be timestamps. So they might be located right there in the timeline of the video, depending on the device you're watching this on. Or worst case scenario, they are in the show notes, where you can click on them from the show notes to jump to that portion of the show. Should also point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel, and you have to be a subscriber for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. So I cut down on some of the more unusual commenters out there. But if you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, maybe there's something about machines and dreams you'd like to get a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So, first out the gate tonight is the Madman. Yes, the Madman himself is with us, as is Testy Trekkie. So, Testy Trekkie says, I'm not saying that the new MLP RPG from Renegade is about to get into my hands. It's for my daughter, totally. MLP must be My Little Pony. I've got to say, I have heard good things about this latest wave of Renegade Game Studios role playing games. So I don't know if they all use the same system. I know the Transformers, I think Power Rangers and G.I. Joe all use the same mechanics. I think mechanically they are identical outside of, what's going to make them fit that genre, obviously enough. But I'm not sure about My Little Pony. So, but I will take Tessie Trekkie's word that they were picking up MLP for their daughter. OITs. Russell Higgins is also joining us in chat tonight. So, do want to point out, I didn't realize that next Tuesday is the 4th of July. I know I'm terrible on this. Like when I was doing shows on Mondays, it'd be like, oh, well, wrapping up on a Wednesday. Go, okay, that's it, everybody. Oh, see you next week. See you Monday. And then to be like, ooh, Monday's a holiday. But I already said I was going to do a show. So for some strange reason, I was thinking Monday was the 4th of July, which, of course, it's not. It is Tuesday. So there will not be a show next Tuesday. So I will not return until Wednesday for another War Game Wednesday. So later on, at the end of the show, I am going to ask for a vote. Which of these you would rather see me do a first look live? Because I've got both. I was going to have both scheduled for next week. So first off, I've got Uncharted Journeys for 5e from my pals over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Don't vote yet. Wait till the end of the show because there's no way I'm going to be tracking votes while I'm actually doing the news and the unboxing and things like that. So we've got Uncharted Journeys for 5e or Masters of Dune for Dune Adventures in the Imperium from, I don't know, at Modiphius Entertainment. They sure have a lot of stuff cooking lately. So I will ask towards the end of the show which one you would prefer to see live a week from today. So keep that in mind. So Sarah D is hanging in chat. So good to see our other chat moderators. So we've got two of our chat moderators, the Madman and Sarah D. Shaz has joined us, as has Oric Love God, which I can't say that nickname is ringing any bells. So it might be a first-time visit, or I just might be having a brain fart and not remembering somebody who's popped into chat before. What can I tell you? The old brain just, malfunctions sometimes. All right, so let's jump on into the news because now available from Pop Fiction Games is The Shivers. Here's the latest. Have you ever wanted to play a pop-up book? Have you been searching for a game that's filled with magic and mystery? Is your gaming group looking for something quick and fun without pages and pages of rules? Look no further. The Shivers is a truly one-of-a-kind tabletop experience that features the magic of handcrafted pop-ups combined with just the right amount. Yeah, it's got the right amount in it. Your daily monk requirement has been met. Combined with just the right amounts of spooky puzzle solving mystery and role playing. Using a patent pending modular pop-up system, the mystery will unfold as you and your friends explore a magical mansion. is one of the members of the Shivers family. Each episode takes about an hour to play cooperative, with one person taking the lead as the storyteller. Once players finish one episode, a quick change of the system reveals the next story, which will be completely new and unique, filled with new clues, puzzles, room layouts, and foes to vanquish. The Shivers is fun and challenging for young kids, teens, and even older, experienced game players. While most games have dozens of pages of rules, try hundreds, and take many hours to learn and play, Shivers players have just a couple simple rules and can get up and playing in less than 5 minutes. Similar to an escape room in structure and feel, but on a much smaller scale, players can get immediately immersed in the mystery, discovering the right path forward as they progress. The Shivers is for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 60 to 90 minutes, does carry an MSRP of $75. I will take a stab in the dark. They're saying 14 and up because of it looks like there's some standees and they're just, erring on the side of caution because people like swallowing things, right? That's why you'll see games here in the US for ages 14 and up, and then you'll see the same game for the European market will say ages 8 and up. I guess those European kids are smarter than American kids as far as putting things in their mouths. So no. I got to say, this looks very interesting. This had a very successful Kickstarter. It also has, I believe, a couple of expansions as well. All in all, I believe there's also a half a dozen mysteries in this core box. I could be wrong on that, but for some reason, I thought I stumbled across something that said that there were 6. But kind of cool. I like the pop up look to it. It's also got a bit of a kind of a Disney Don Bluth. Well, Disney and Don Bluth, kind of 2 separate entities there, but you know what I'm talking about. Sort of look to the character designs. So I like that as well. So, something a bit unusual to kick off the news tonight. Something that's also caught my eye is a new addition to the GMT Games P500 list. It is Imperial Fever. And here's what I know. Imperial Fever, great power competition in the late 19th century, say that 5 times fast, is a deck building game for 3 to 4 players that recreates great power competition in the period between 1881 and 1915. Interesting. Players will vie for world dominance as they take on the roles of the United Kingdom, France, the Central Empires, Germany and Austria-Hungary, and the emergent powers, the USA and Japan. These powers compete across several interlinked domains, including the naval arms race, military expansion and diplomacy in Europe, power projection in key international theaters, and colonial expansion. This was an era in which the race for hegemony became an end in itself, with entire peoples and national industries consumed by petty competition, eventually resulting in colonial exploitation and the outbreak of World War I. This game does not excuse or glorify the behavior of the player factions, but rather seeks to present and understand the perverse incentives that drove them to act in this way. Game features a unique approach to this complex and important period of world history, including the following innovative aspects. There's a deck building mechanism that will allow players to pursue different strategies and model escalation of global competition. A variety of other mechanics, including area majority, push your luck, tug of war, technology tracks, and set collection. Competition between players in different areas, national prestige, military power, naval dominance, colonial expansion, and key strategic areas. International tensions that may culminate in the outbreak of the First World War. A wide range of political agendas are included that will allow players to choose among different paths to victory. There's a rich event deck that poses additional challenges to players, ranging from international conflicts to political mishaps at home. The influence of non player powers such as Russia, China, Holland, Belgium, Spain, and Portugal are included. Full games playable in under 4 hours once players are reasonably familiar with the rules. Imperial Fever is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 3 hours or more, can be pre ordered for the P500 price of $58 with an expected MSRP of $84. And I am very, very intrigued. I've always been interested in this period of history. In fact, Barbara Tuchman, Guns of August, and then gosh, there's another book that she wrote that is right around the same period, but it's the events before the Guns of August. Is also another excellent book about what was going on in Europe at this time and how Europe was slowly rolling towards a world war. So this could be very, very cool. So I also want to point out that the P500 price is pretty enticing, seeing that it's going to have an expected MSRP of $84 and you can pre-order for $58. Now, when I took a peek, because this just got added recently, very recently, to the P500, it's got almost 200 orders, is what I saw. So, pretty interesting, pretty cool. So, Disavowed 92 and Kathy Evans are in chat with us tonight. Welcome aboard. So let's talk about some miniatures, because I don't cover miniatures as much as I would like to. But there's a new miniatures game starter set, which looks pretty impressive, at least in my opinion. Here's the scoop on a Core Space Firstborn starter set from Battle Systems. At the foremost tip of the galaxy burns a small white star. Here lies the remnants of the Firstborn, an advanced civilization that conquered the galaxy long ago, but were brought low by a civil war. For millions of years they slept, but when the traders arrived to pick over the bones of a long dead people, the Firstborn were awoken. Core Space Firstborn is a solo/cooperative science fiction miniatures game in which your band of traders venture into the temples of the Firstborn, a fanatical alien species that do not welcome intruders. The game takes place on a detailed 3D board. Your traders must explore the area, fulfill their objectives, salvage what they can, and then escape back to their ship, spending their earnings on desperately needed repairs. The exciting campaign system will track your crew from game to game, developing their skills, upgrading their equipment, and immersing you in their story. Firstborn is based on the cyberpunk bestseller Core Space, but is a fully standalone game for new and existing players alike. The Core Space Firstborn starter set contains 20 miniatures and all you need to get started, including the rules, for an MSRP of $109. Yes, I like the sculpts quite a lot. And I have heard kind of through the grapevine that Core Space is a pretty good skirmish level miniatures game that doesn't get overly complex, but it's not super like abstract and fluffy, that it hits like the right notes and it hits the sweet spots for a lot of people with what they're looking for in miniatures games. So it has that going for it. And it's a starter set. It's got 20 miniatures, and we'll let the images kind of rotate through once again because I think it's pretty cool that it includes some of this terrain. So you can see we've got kind of like like a flip mat would be, like we see from Paizo Inc., which I always talk about using for miniatures all the time. And we've got the mats, and we also have walls. So it is not just a starter set that has a game mat, because we've seen that before too. So it looks like this is jam packed with goodies. I'd actually be very interested in checking this out further. Should mention, I've been bouncing around trying to cover miniatures more. I don't know. It's to me, it just seems like it's very tough to get on board with some of these miniatures companies. I mean, I wouldn't go after like Games Workshop or anything like that because I guarantee they're very, very difficult to get on board with. But some of the smaller companies, uh, I almost had something going on with Warlord Games at one point, and then my contact there left, and then he came back, and I was like, So in the comments section, not in chat, in the comments section, if you would like to see more coverage of miniatures and miniatures games, not just the rule books, because, I do share from time to time reviews and first looks at like miniature rule books from, say, Osprey Games. I do want to take a look at miniatures themselves as well, seeing that, we do have expensive cameras shooting this show. May not come across that way, but, I'm not, I'm a poor carpenter. I'm not blaming my tools. So let me know in the comment section if there's a company that you would like to see, a miniatures company that you would like to see more coverage of. And we'll see what we can do. All right, let's talk about some role playing game news because November is going to see the first two titles in the eagerly anticipated Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered line. And I've got some concrete details about those two releases from our friends over at Paizo Inc. First off, we've got the Pathfinder Player Core, which presents a new entry point to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, with everything a player needs to learn how to play the game. Choose from 8 ancestries, 8 complete character classes, and hundreds of feats and spells to make unique characters ready for deadly adventures in a world beset by magic and evil. This 464-page hardcover tome is the definitive rules resource for all Pathfinder 2nd Edition players. This includes an easier to learn presentation. Paizo has taken feedback from the beginner box and the core rulebook and made this new entry into the Pathfinder role-playing game easier to navigate and get right into the fun. There's complete character creation rules, walking you through building a character by selecting your ancestry, background, and class, with a focus on the bard, cleric, druid, fighter, ranger, rogue, witch, and wizard. No paladin. My favorite, there's no paladin. Bet you're bad. They're going to be included in the player core 2. Core ancestry options include human, dwarf, elf, gnome, goblin, halfling, leshy, and orc. It's interesting that somebody must really love those leshies out there because they seem to be making appearances quite often. There's a mountain of options allowing you to customize your character, including versatile heritages like the changeling and Nephilim or Nephilim. I don't know. Aren't those like angelics? There's skills and feats and hundreds of spells, including dozens of new ones, ensuring that the character you build represents your hero, not just in story, but in rules as well. Everything you need to know to start playing, from advice on how to explore the world to tips on surviving deadly combats with terrifying foes. There's a primer on the world of Lost Omens so that your character can be part of an exciting and diverse world. Rules and tools to advance your character through play, taking them from a fresh faced adventurer ready to take on the world to a veteran hero wielding powerful magic that can reshape reality. It's fully integrated with errata from the first 4 years of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, including revisions to the Witch, expanded options for every character class, streamlined spells, new equipment, and more. This is actually going to be the first Pathfinder product to be published under the new Orc license, giving players and game masters even more freedom for making their own creations based on Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Then unleash your imagination, creating worlds and stories beyond measure with the new Pathfinder GM Core for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This comprehensive 336 page hardcover rulebook gives game masters everything they need to craft thrilling tales of adventure, from a single night's dungeon delve to complex epics spanning years. Within these pages, you'll find clear guidelines for creating new hazards and monsters, tools to design challenging, balanced encounters, and rules for rewarding characters for the dastardly challenges you array before them. Pathfinder GM Core also contains a dragon's hoard of magic items and treasure to entice and reward your players, from simple healing potions to magic weapons and armor and legendary artifacts, including dozens of brand new items. This volume includes the rules needed to run a game of Pathfinder, including guidelines for creating challenging encounters, determining success, and giving out rewards. There's advice aimed at making you an incredible game master, like myself, along with tools to ensure you and everyone else at your table have a safe and enjoyable experience. There's guidelines to help you create your own content, from campaigns and adventures to hazards and monsters, as well as rules subsystems to help you handle a wide array of game situations, including rules for chases, duels, research, infiltration, and more. There's a guide to the world of Lost Omens with a look at several important regions, an examination of the peoples and cultures of the world, and a glimpse into what lies beyond the veil of the universe. And of course, we also have that fully integrated errata, which includes improvements to staves and talismans and all new Apex magic items. Both the Pathfinder Player Core and GM Core for second edition remastered will carry MSRPs of $59.99 when they arrive in November. Sorry to say, I would have liked to have seen these been able to premiere at Gen Con. That will not be the case. And funny enough, I was going to shoot my next episode of my monthly series, Why You Should Play, and feature Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but I don't know if I should hold off, because we do have the remastered line coming out. It'll be a series of 4 books. But then on the flip side, it's not as if the rules are changing. As far as I understand, it is just going to be presented to make it easier for newcomers to understand. So, and of course, I'm sure there's some tweaks and things like that. But as far as mechanically at its core, this is not changing second edition Pathfinder. And I know a lot of people out there will be very happy to know that. I find it kind of interesting because the player core seems to me like it's taking the beginner box approach, as far as only giving you so many ancestries, only giving you so many classes that are going to be available, so many backgrounds. So the rest of it is like paladins and things like that, I'm sure are going to be in the player core 2, which is slated for a 2024 release. Tessie Trekkie says, hold off. Should hold off on that. That's what I was kind of thinking, was that hold off on it until at least these 2 new books come out. Now, I will point out that You are seeing the sketch design covers. Those are going to be available exclusively through brick and mortar retail stores, and they will only be available, I think, if I remember correctly, something like 60 or 90 days. And then after that, they will only ever be available again on Paizo.com, maybe. So keep that in mind. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see Pathfinder get a bit of a remaster because I say it all the time. For those people out there who want a fantasy role playing game that is going to give them unparalleled character options, creation options, uh, so many options as your character levels up, and just a ton of content available for it. Got to go with Pathfinder Second Edition. You really do. And especially if you're interested in very tactical combat, Pathfinder Second Edition is the way to go with all the different feats and the 3 action economy. I like Pathfinder Second Edition quite a lot. All right, my final news piece, now available in both print and PDF, is the Stokerverse role playing game. Here's the skinny from Nightfall Games. So, Stokerverse, so that must be based in the world of the Burt Reynolds film Stoker Ace, right? Oh, maybe not. In Stokerverse role playing game, it's kind of an odd, should it be Stokerverse the role playing game or Stokerverse RPG? Stokerverse role playing game just doesn't roll off the tongue. Sounds feels kind of silly. Anyway, not saying the game is silly. I'm just might want to throw a V in there or the, whichever way you want to pronounce it. In Stokerverse role playing game, you play all manner of person from many different walks of life. You might be an assistant vampire hunter, a local bobby, a member of the gentry, clergy, or a medical professional. You might be a commoner who has seen too much, or a psychic who sees too far. The choice is yours. Your ragtag band of investigators must work together to uncover the true evils of the world, and using your skills, status, or secrets, thwart the agents of darkness from succeeding at their vile plan. It is all not about Dracula himself, because the Stokerverse drinks deep from contemporary literature, superstition, and horror of the Victorian age. You might, for an example, meet Dracula's fourth wife, taken from Bram Stoker's extensive notes written during his preparation for the novel, and to date only seen by the Stoker family, or the likes of Dr. Jekyll, or possibly even Jack the Ripper. The GM may look to take the adventure into the maddening world of the insane, or go into the Gothic catacombs of many of London's cemeteries. You could experience a Victoria public house or gentleman's club, partake in the earliest medical procedures. I would think it should have been a Victorian public house or gentleman's club. Just me, unless it's owned by Queen Victoria. You could partake in the earliest medical procedures, dabble with the power of electricity, or delve into the mystic world. The book is designed as a toolbox to allow the game master to create their own campaigns or one shots, including detailed multi page campaign arcs, campaign seeds, mini missions, NPCs, weapons, detailed locations, and enemy characters. You have the option to play either pre generated characters or to create your own, tailored to your preferences, weapon choices, and role within your team. The book is 216 pages of background, art, stats, and rules. Includes non player characters, many of which will be familiar to readers of 19th century literature, albeit with a Stokerverse twist, including the likes of Van Helsing, Jack the Ripper, Frankenstein's monster, and Miss Habersham, to name but a few. A number of playable characters, including Harker, Mina, and Seagrove, The story of Dracula, the powers behind his curse, and the creatures that continue his foul legacy. Occult secrets, including the art of the seance and the powers of mesmerism. The world of 1890s London, with all the secret lore set to inspire the game master to conjure up their own wicked imaginings. And of course, there's a bestiary groaning with vicious beasts, malevolent spirits, and demonic foes. The 216-page Stokerverse RPG hardcover can be pre-ordered. I think it's hitting stores right now, but I think it's still showing as a pre-order. Carries an MSRP of $50, or you can grab the PDF right now over at DriveThru RPG for a special sale price currently of $17. And yes, I was poking fun at the sell sheet, but this does sound like a very interesting role-playing game. And Nightfall Games are the folks behind Slay Industries. They also have the Hellboy role-playing game, although strangely enough, I thought the Hellboy role-playing game was with another publisher. Could be wrong on that, but Nightfall Games is Slay Industries. So that is probably their biggest selling RPG up till now, maybe, with the Stokerverse RPG. All right, that is it for the news tonight. So, few things I do want to mention. So, first of all, I was just talking about DriveThru RPG, and you only have 2 days left to score that awesome Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed of bundle, where it includes just about everything that was published for that role playing game from Modiphius Entertainment. And I have pointed out before, even if you are not a fan of the 2D20 system, the work that went into those volumes is just amazing, and tons and tons of artwork. So if you have any interest whatsoever in running a Conan role playing game, I mean, it's a no-brainer to pick this bundle up because it is $30. Yes, it is $30. And I think the MSRP on it, I know I feel weird talking about like PDF MSRPs, but still, I think the value of all those PDFs in the bundle is like 440 odd dollars. So you can score that for $30. 2 days left because as of July 1st, Modiphius Entertainment no longer has the license. So keep that in mind. Something else, another sale I want to point out. Our friends over at Free League Publishing are having a big sale. Not on PDFs, it is on physical books. And Blade Runner, the role playing game, is on sale. Tales from the Loop is on sale. Alien, the role playing game, is on sale. I think the only thing I didn't see being on sale was the box set for Forbidden Lands. But pretty much every other system that Free League Publishing publishes is on sale. I got to be honest, I don't know how long the sale is on. I think it's through 4th of July, maybe. I'm not positive. I don't know why it would actually be through the 4th of July, seeing that they're not an American company, but still. But definitely check that out. And then lastly, I don't talk too much about computer games, things like that, console games, what have you. But as of today, for the next week, EpicGames.com has the Dungeon of Nullbeck. I think that's how it was pronounced. The Amulet of Chaos. Absolutely free. I have played it. I played it to completion. It is kind of an isometric view role-playing game where you have your party, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really, really well done. Some of the jokes didn't go over as well as it could have, but there's a lot of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge for like tabletop role playing game fans to enjoy. You will catch. So Tessie Trekkie says, unfortunately, I obsessively buy everything that Freya Lagan brings out, and the sale is through July 5th. Thank you, Tessie Trekkie. Yes, that is actually a problem. I shouldn't say a problem, but uh, I would say that that's probably something that other viewers are going to encounter as well, saying, I bought everything that Free League Publishing comes out with, so I don't need anything, even if it's on sale. But I did want to mention that because I saw some items. I don't remember which ones they were off the top of my head, but they were like 50% off on some. So, and if you have not checked out the excellent Alien, the role playing game, or Blade Runner, the role playing game, which we talked a little bit about previously, kind of curious if we're going to see more content for it because it's been pretty quiet on that front. Check it out. So, Roger Perdome says Nalbeck started with a very cool audio series years back, then comics, novels, etc., all in French. I did understand that I think the developers of the game were French, but I did not know that it was an audio series and comic books and things like that. It's like I said, I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and it's absolutely free for the next week over at epicgames.com. So don't miss out. All right. So I was talking about drive-through RPG just a few moments ago. If you are going to swing on over, please stop by thegaminggang.com first and click on one of our banner ads. It doesn't matter if you're going to drive-through RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, any of the one bookshelf sites. Please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. And thankfully, there are a lot of people out there who use our one bookshelf banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. So thank you, everybody. Big tip of the cap to you all for doing that. So let's see who has popped in that I did not say hello to. Agent Especial. I don't think I said hello to Shaz. Who else we got? Just taking a peek. I don't think I said hello to Roger Perdome and Quantum Phase Dragon. And Jack Hanks is hanging with the gang too. So howdy, everybody. All right. So anyway, no real random musings, kind of sharing the information about those sales and the really nice freebie over on Epic Games. Sort of my random musings for the night. But if you are tuning in a little bit late, do you want to mention not thinking last night, just like I'm always saying, oh yeah, on Monday's show. When I'm not doing shows on Mondays anymore and haven't for a few weeks. I had mentioned, oh yeah, on Tuesday's show I'll be doing whatever, not thinking Tuesday's 4th of July. So for some reason I was thinking Monday was the 4th of July, even though we are getting together for the next session in Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep on Monday. So right there, that should have reminded me that no, it's not the 4th of July on Monday, Jeff. So there will not be an episode of The Dispatch on Tuesday. So don't vote yet. But at the end of the show, I am going to ask which of these 2 items you would prefer to see a week from today live. We've got Uncharted Journeys for 5e from my pals over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. And we have Dune Adventures in the Imperium, Masters of Dune from the fine folks over at Modiphius Entertainment. So at the end of the show, with a few minutes to go, I will ask if you wouldn't mind voting, which would you rather see as a live first look? And then the other, I'll actually just shoot a standalone first look video. So I'll also want to point out, once again, as I really don't pay much attention to like holidays and dates and things like that. So I was just talking to my brother and Elliot, because we're going to San Diego Comic-Con. As well, I believe our friend David is going with, although I'm not positive. So anyway, we were talking about it, and I said, oh, it's more than a month away. And then I realized, oh no, it's just over 3 weeks away. I was like, oh yeah, it's a lot closer than I thought it was. But hey, we're staying at the Embassy Suites right down the street, which I have to laugh. Our one friend who owns a chain of comic book stores here in Illinois always stays there with his team because he's an exhibitor at Comic-Con. He's an exhibitor at a lot of different conventions. But we usually go over there and like drop our stuff off at the concierge before we leave on Sunday. So we drop our stuff off after we check out from whatever hotel we're at. And then we go and we say, oh yeah, we're in room whatever, which is the room that our friend is in. And then we just leave our stuff and then come back before we go to the airport to grab it, right? So we were booked there the year they canceled Comic-Con. And it was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. First time ever we were gonna stay that close. Cause it's like 10-minute walk. And you're like, no. Cause last year I was joking about how it was supposed to be like 1.2 miles or a mile from the hotel we were at to the convention center. And it was like, there is no way that's a mile. It was like, absolutely not. It was like, this is like 2.5 miles because it took a while to walk. So anyway, so pretty excited about that. We're going to be staying at the Embassy Suites. Yes. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so that is that. So I'm going to be jumping on in, take a first look at the Dreams and Machines RPG starter set from Modiphius Entertainment in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
How about it, kids? Are you giving us a fair break? We've tried to treat you fair and square, but unnecessary noises and disturbances drive away adults. And we need adult trade to stay in business. You can cooperate and help us keep this theater quiet, or we'll be forced without further notice to evict all disturbance makers and to refuse them future admission to this theater. Now, don't make us do it. Let's give each other a fair break. Thanks, the management.
Oh, heck, my flying saucer's out of atomic fuel.
I'm even worse off. I'm out of Wilkins coffee.
Invaders from Mars. He saw them land from outer space. He saw them capture innocent people only to destroy. Father turned against son. People changed into strange, weird animals. A general of the army becomes a saboteur. Trusted police turned into arsonists. The boy's parents changed into killers.
But nobody's getting anywhere out there. Nobody can locate anything. Anybody. The Martians. We've got to stop them.
Invaders from Mars, capturing humans at will for their own sinister purposes, turning them into diabolical instruments of destruction. Invaders from Mars, weird, fantastic beings of a superintelligence, ruling a race of synthetic humans and pitting them against mankind's dream to conquer the universe.
Come on, step on it. Search every tunnel. We gotta find Ronaldo and the kid. When the colonel gives a signal, get back here on the double.
I got to admit, I did not know the famed explorer Leif Erikson was in Invaders from Mars. I did not know that. I got to admit, Invaders from Mars, as far as 50s science fiction movies, it's okay. It's not so bad. It's all right. In fact, I have to laugh where it's like they show the little alien leader guy and his little, like, I don't know, like little glass, like crystal ball. And the kid's like banging on it, which you can obviously tell he's not hitting anything. And they show the close up of the alien leader, like looking down, like, quit banging on the glass, kid. Cut it out. Anyway, so there is your brief intermission for the evening. Anyway, as I had mentioned previously, tonight we are going to dive on in and take a first look at Dreams and Machines. This is the starter set for the new role-playing game from Modiphius Entertainment. It is premiering at Gen Con. It's going to carry an MSRP. I do believe it should be $39.99, although you can pre-order it. And you can pre-order it and get the quick start PDF right now. Now, you will get the PDF for the starter set, but I don't think it's going to be available to anyone until August 3rd. So I do want to mention that. But if you do pre-order from Modiphius Entertainment, or you can go to dreamsandmachines.com, you can do it there as well. You will receive the quick start PDF immediately. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got the starter set for Dreams and Machines. So let's get the shrink wrap off first. So do want to point out the fine folks over at Modiphius Entertainment were kind enough to provide me with this review copy of the starter set. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. All right, let's take a look at the back here. Play out of the box. Something is waking on Evera Prime. Begin your adventures in Dreams and Machines. Dreams and machines collide in a far future where its people come together to rebuild. The ultimate tale of hope and heroism in the shadow of the Wakers. I almost said walkers, but it says Wakers. As the danger grows and the world once more is under threat, do you dare to dream? A vast distance from Earth, a human colony bearing the scars of a self inflicted apocalypse survives on the distant world of Ivera Prime. In the shadow of ruined megacities, humanity rebuilds, scavenging technology from the old world and returning to a simpler way of life. Among the mountains and valleys of New Mossgrove, the mechs of the old world dot the landscape, the deadly tools of a corrupt AI. Since the war that finally defeated the machines, they have been locked in a slumber that's lasted hundreds of years. But occasionally, they awaken, and when they do, these wakers continue their programming to wreak havoc across the world. And it talks about what's in the starter set, which we are going to see ourselves, so we don't need to read it. And Anthony Good is popping on into chat. All right, first thing I do want to mention, this box, nice, thick cardstock. It's got to be one of the thickest starter set boxes I have encountered. Right up there, probably with the Pathfinder and Starfinder. Although, actually, to be honest, thicker than that. So that's cool, because usually we see starter sets, boxes tend to be kind of flimsy. So Anthony Good's like, just in time. All right, so looks like these might be handouts. We've got some envelopes. I think this is where the players store their character sheets. I don't know much about this game. I'll be very, very honest. This is all pretty new to me, but I do know that it is a 2D20 game, so it's part of that lineup. Not sure how crunchy mechanically it's going to be, because as we know, just because it's a 2D20 game, it's not necessarily an indication about how much crunch the rules will have, because there's really a difference between, say, Star Trek Adventures and, well, I guess we would say like Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of. Star Trek Adventures is pretty lightweight. So I think you also create your characters by way of like playing cards or special cards that come with this. So I'm thinking these might be handouts. We will find out. So we have our rules reference. I think we've got 3 books in here. So first off, let's take a look at the rules reference. And hopefully we've got a nice, crisp image tonight, because you just never know how the stream is going to go as far as YouTube is concerned. So we've got rules reference. Could this be helpful? This book contains an alphabetical reference of the core rules of Dreams and Machines. This reference can be used to answer questions which may occur whilst playing the game. So I would take a guess this may not be the first book we would be taking a peek at. So let's see what else we've got in here. So we've got a tutorial booklet. We've got an adventure booklet. Ooh, that's nice and thick. Then we got some other goodies. Got some punch boards and stuff. So let's take a look at the tutorial booklet first, because I think this is what's going to give us a bit more of an idea of the game itself. It says, oh, there you go. Read me first. Start at the beginning. Welcome to the world of Dreams and Machines, a world in the far future cut off from Earth, where inhabitants balance on a razor's edge between technological distrust and reverence. A world where sleeping mechs form part of the landscape, part of the culture even. Banners and flowers decorate the rusting Goliaths, where the people that make their homes around them celebrate births, festivals, and harvests, all in the shadow of tools of devastation, now slumbering, their former purpose forgotten. Rumors swirl of a dark city and yet more tell of wakers. Mechs that move, that kill, that cannot be stopped. But that seems far away. Nothing to trouble you and your party. World of adventures and exploration awaits those just arriving in New Moss Grove, a place where people are friendly, humble, and hopeful. A place soon to be torn apart. I was going to say, can't last. Can't last. Says you can use this introductory booklet to immediately start playing by creating the player's characters and learning the basic rules to our 2D20 system. Follow these instructions bit by bit, and you'll begin playing right now. All right, so we got a nice spread there. Got a few spreads. So we're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's in this starter set as well as what we're looking at game-wise. So we've got creating your characters. So you're going to choose your origin. Okay, so there are cards. So it says first each player should select an origin card from Everin, Dreamer, Archivist, River, or Spear. River? Or what should it be? Reaver? I don't know. We'll find out. So we've got our attributes. They have a rating from 6 to 16. We've got might, quickness, insight, resolve, spirit, and tech level. And the tech level describes a level of technology the character understands and can operate. Choose your archetype. So we've got mediator, gatherer, guardian, grabber, and tech. I like the art. Art's pretty solid. It's got a photorealistic look to it. So we've got skills. Looks like we only get a few skills. Fight, move, operate, sneak, study, survive, and talk. Oh yeah, I guess it is a river. It says this is a river. They ferry people and supplies around. What else do we have? Choose your talents. It says there are 4 possible talents for each archetype. Each of you should pick one. Talents are mechanical bonuses, rerolls, rules exceptions, and extra abilities characters can use by spending spirit. Choose your temperament. Circumspect. Conspicuous? Really? That's why I paused for a second. I'm like, that's a temperament? Conspicuous? Demonstrative? Fixed? Manipulative? And maverick. Then you get your finishing touches. So, tutorial, destruction. So this is a tutorial adventure, it looks like. There we go. I'm taking a stab that this is going to be a scene-based game because off the top of my head, I don't think there are any 2D20 system games that are more sandboxy. Out of the Rubble. That almost has a bit of a Tales from the Loop vibe to the art there. These look mean and nasty. So it looks like we get some combat. This is very threatening. That's what it says. So it appears that we have some currency involved, some gaming currency. So it appears that the players get spirits for their player characters, and it looks as if the game master gets threat. It says the game master can spend threat for their NPCs. Oh, there you go, right there. In the same way as the player characters spend both their spirit and momentum. That's right. 2D20 games usually have momentum in it. So the game master can create complications that can bring in reinforcements. I will also point out that the paper stock is really nice. Something that we don't usually see in starter sets. And it's understandable. You're trying to keep the price down with starter sets to entice people to check out your system. And gotta say, paper stock's really, really nice. So these won't fall apart after, checking it out a few times. Okay, so that's the tutorial booklet. So it looks like it's got a real short little adventure for you to learn some of the mechanics. So now we'll take a peek through the rules reference, which is in alphabetical order. So we have action order, which is optional. So initiative in essence. Armor, assistance. Says many tests can benefit from teamwork. So of course, tests are going to be your action resolution. Some games call them tests, some call them checks, skill checks, things like that. So you've got attacks. So melee attacks are typically might or quickness as far as tests go, at the GM's discretion. If the opponent is aware of the attack becomes a contest with the defender rolling quickness. Base difficulty is normally 1, though other factors may apply. So our attributes. So remember, they run 6 to 16. 6 and 7 is weak. 8 to 10 is average. 11 and 12, some regular training or a natural talent. 13 and 14, a mixture of talent, training, and dedication. And a 15 and 16 would be among the best of the best. So we've got complications. Things don't always go entirely to plan. When attempting a test, each D20 that rolls a 20 causes a complication, which comes into effect once the test has been resolved. It's one thing to keep in mind with the 2D20 system. You're looking as far as rolling low. Quantum Phase Dragon points out the art and layout look really good. Yeah, very nice. Very nice so far. Quantum Phase Dragon's asking, how much is this? Should carry an MSRP of $39.99. You can pre-order it. You can either go to dreamsandmachines.com or Modiphius.us if you want the US store, Modiphius.net if you want the European store. And dollar-wise, because of the exchange rate that's always fluctuating, I noticed earlier today that you could pre-order it for like $38.71, something like that. So I'm figuring your MSRP is probably $39.99. And it will not be available until August 3rd if you're tuning in a little bit late. If you pre-order now from Modiphius Entertainment, or of course the dreamsandmachines.com is Modiphius Entertainment, you will get the quickstart PDF immediately. So Anthony asks, is there going to be a core rulebook in the future? Yes. When that's coming out, I do not know. I kind of have the impression that it's probably spring of 2024. But to be very honest, I can't tell you. I know it's not this year. I have not seen any indication because you figure this is coming out in August. So it's just giving us a breakdown like tests. Tests involve rolling 2 or more D20s, and they follow a specific process. The following explanation mentions several ideas that have been described elsewhere in this reference. The Game Master chooses which attribute and which skill are appropriate for the test being attempted. This might be stated by the rules test, or you may suggest which ones you think would fit, but the Game Master has the final say. Where the rules state which attribute and skill are to be used, they'll be listed as an attribute skill. For example, climbing a cliff might be might, move as far as the test. So you can purchase additional D20s using your spirit because you're looking to roll equal to or less than attribute or attribute skill, I guess we'll say. So if you're buying more D20s, you're giving yourself a higher chance of success. So we've got truths, weapons. It says weapons in Dreams and Machines are described with a few brief traits: name, tech level, weapon type, damage. So it says damage. A weapon's damage comes in two parts. The first is a single word or short phrase, which is the injury the weapon inflicts. The second is a number, normally from 1 to 6, which is the cost to avoid that injury by spending spirit. Interesting. And then we got zones, distance, and movement. Now, one aspect of the 2D20 system that I know some people aren't overly keen about is that the combat might not be as meaty as some people would want. So, for an example, like the Fallout role playing game, or I should say, Fallout, the role playing game, is relatively crunchy, but they also have like range bands, which I know some people just are not thrilled with. To me, I don't care. It doesn't I don't need it to be like, oh well, okay, the range is 15 meters. No, range bands are fine. But I have heard some people complain online that is the part of the 2D20 system that they dislike. And it's like, oh, okay. All right, so now we've got the adventure booklet. So I am going to skip through quite a lot of pages of this because I don't want to spoil the adventure. But I should also point out that if you are a player and you're hoping your game master is going to pick up Dreams and Machines, at least the starter set, you may not want to pay attention for a few minutes. Quantum Phase Dragon asks, does this have solo rules? Not to my knowledge. So it says, this will be fun. This really feels like this is aimed at people who are not overly familiar with role-playing games. This is just kind of the vibe I'm getting. I don't mean anything negative or positive. I'm just saying that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It says this booklet contains an RPG adventure centered around New Moss Grove and its people, following the events of the tutorial booklet. As a GM, you should read through at least the first part of this booklet and the first couple of scenes to prepare yourself for running your next session of Dreams and Machines. I would certainly hope as a game master that you would read further than a couple of scenes. Because if I'm showing up for a game session and we're just playing a couple of scenes and that's it for the night, I would not be a happy camper. Just saying. It says, remember, these pages contain GM only information and only the material in read aloud formatting should be read to the players. So we get a breakdown here. So we get an introduction and a synopsis, as well as a one-page gazetteer for New Moss Grove. Says before the mechs began waking, New Moss Grove was a way station along the great Grand Hayloft River Trail, near the spot where one of the largest mechs anyone had ever seen stood as a frozen sentinel over the rushing waters. This would look so good in my traveling hat. Okie dokie. Right, so we're just going to kind of skip through here. So we've got location cards, we've got NPC cards, equipment cards. These are handouts. I thought those were probably handouts. So there we go. We won't look at all of them. We'll just take a peek at a few when we get to this point. Here's our read aloud. I like the bright colors in this place a lot. Also important to keep in mind that this is not some grim post-apocalyptic setting. It is a land filled with hope. So keep that in mind. Stray Kismet is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. So just kind of taking a peek at some of the scenes here. The Grabber twins. Vroom, vroom, vroom. I don't know. Like I said, this seems like it's aimed at people without a lot of experience role playing games. But some of this is more like it's aimed at like young kids, and I don't know if that's really the case or not. So. But I will tell you, I get the impression that this is really aimed at video gamers. So because, as I mentioned last night, what is it? Horizon Zero Dawn, is that the name of the game? I always mess it up. I talked about that last night. I always screw up the name of it. This seems to have a real feel like that video game. I don't know if that's kind of the vibe that anyone else in chat watching right now is getting, but kind of what I'm feeling here. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying, kind of getting that impression with even some of the art style where you see some of the characters and the NPCs. But of course, I actually have not played that video game. So I mentioned that last night. So, but I kind of have, you know, a passing knowledge, I guess I'll say. But yeah, like Happy Dreaming. I mean, I don't mind a game book that's like aimed at newcomers to the hobby. I'm all for that. But I don't know. It's got kind of like a kiddie vibe to it. But the artwork certainly doesn't come across as being, oh, well, this is, aimed at kids. Right. So we've got those 3 booklets there. And it looks like we've got a bit of a map here. It's no doubt for our adventure. I think that's more just kind of an area map as opposed to like, oh, this is the scale. All right, so then we've got a variety of tokens here. And these punch boards are really thick. That's really nice. So here we've got our different characters and NPCs is my guess here. We obviously must have spirit points because the player characters get to spend spirit, and we also have momentum. And then the game master has threat. So they must be these here. So we got 4 different kinds. They are dual-sided. Oh, actually, we've got this here as well, these tokens. Right, so we've got that. And then we've got a couple of decks of cards, a couple of thick decks of cards. And we've got a bunch of 2D20, or I should say 2D20. We've got a bunch of 20-sided dice. So we've got 5 of these. Kind of an interesting color scheme. Almost like a dark fuchsia and gray. And oops, our 1 has a symbol on it. It's actually that symbol here. Because remember, as I mentioned, in 2D20, you are looking for low rolls. You want low rolls for your action resolution. So I understand we've got a few different decks of cards here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this mic for a sec. So I had a set focus, but because we've got cards and stuff, I'm going to hold the cards up a little closer to the camera. So they would have been out of focus. That's why I just made that change. So let's see what we've got here. So I think these are from the adventure with equipment and NPCs. Got another deck here. Then we got our temperament, I should say. I think this is our choice of PCs. Got that. I think these are like scene cards for the adventure. So we will not take a look at all of these. Actually, quite a lot of them. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so we got some reference cards for GM and players. That's nice. Okay, so we've got some mechs. Maybe. And it appears like these are more of the monsters and things like that. So I noticed we have different backing on these though, even though they have that symbol. So we've got that. We've got this. So I think these cards are used for, here we've got that backing as well. And this. Then I think this just has stat blocks. Yeah, so we've got decrepit. I almost said waker, but this is a walker. So it says decrepit walker. Thrall technomancer. Malfunctioning nanogram. Patrolling security warden. A repair mech. Okay. And then it looks like these are also the cards to show what those are. So this is the security warden. It's an efficient mechanical killer. Gives us our skills, it looks like, and our attributes. So we've got these different ones here. This is a Leogard archivist. I gotta say, this is unusual. This is different. Like I said, I think these are for our player characters. Maybe not. Maybe these are our NPCs because they have a name. So does he. Yep. It's Jesse Samura. Hey, Jesse. Where's Jesse's girl? Alrighty. And then we've got a thrall. So once again, stat blocks. And then we've got the equipment. So a barbed thrall javelin. And okay, so here's our like phrase as far as damage, bleeding. Remember it said it would be a word or phrase. A shock prod is shocked or stunned. A hunting pulsar, damage is burned. Okay. Crossbow, impaled, 2. So as the rules said that you have to spend that much spirit as a player character to avoid taking that wound. So there must be specific information about an impale wound, because we're not seeing anything where it's like, oh, okay, roll a die for damage. Because remember, you're only using 20-sided dice in this game. So we've got that, the temperament, the circumspect, conspicuous. So this is where you take these cards to build your character. So here we've got talents, make do and mend, bag of tricks, never stay still, bedside manner. And it's showing the archetype. So we've got the mediator. So we've got guidance, rally, reassure. Then the tech, machine sense, mech breaker, rapid charge, and tinkerer. So we've got the different character archetypes here. So we'd use those. Then we've got our origins. Okay, so we've got our origins here. So this is another card that you would be using for your character. So we have Everin, Dreamer, Archivist, a Spear, and River. And it looks like we've got a couple of these. I don't know if that's kind of like a fighter or something like that, where you might have more than one. So we've got that. And then we also have your archetype. So you're going to choose your archetype, and it looks like we've got 2 of each. So they're going to be the same. So we've got the Gatherer, the Guardian, the Mediator once again, the Tech, and the Grabber. Show you what the artwork is there. So that's the Grabber. That's the Tech. There's the Mediator. It's like they're rousing the rabble. This is the Guardian. That must be our fighter. The Guardian must be the fighter there. And then is this our River? No, it's the Gatherer. Where was the River at? Or is that an Origin? Maybe that's an Origin. Yeah, that was it. I was like, wait a second. Are we missing some cards? Are we running into that problem again? But no, that is not the case. All right, so we've got all of these various different cards here, various different decks. So it looks as if your character would be made up of a few different cards, and then that's what these envelopes are for, is for you to actually put those cards into this envelope. So when you're done playing for that session, you put them in there, your game master keeps them, and then when you're ready to play again, they're going to pull out the envelopes and hand you your envelope with your cards. That is my guess. Then lastly, we've got some handouts here. We won't look at all of them, but actually real nice paper stock on these. So Just kind of give you an idea of some of these here. It's like that's some sort of like vid screen. Maybe like it must be some sort of a tablet that they're looking at here. Invest in Foundrotech and help ensure the future of Ivera. I'm sure that's not how the world is pronounced, but you know. So we've got quite a few of these. Nice. Like I said, I'm intrigued. I may not necessarily be too in step with the what appears to be kind of a kid's like approach. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, then again, it could be it's trying to be presented as sort of like a journal or something like that. That's possible. Okay, so we're going to put the cards back in here. There we go. So we got the two big decks of cards. Well, I should say it's multiple decks, but as you can see, two decks. We got the reference. We've got 5 20-sided dice. Pretty good heft on the dice. They're pretty much your standard 20-siders here. We have the 2 punch boards of really thick tokens. Little map there, which must be for the adventure. We have the adventure booklet, the rules reference, and the tutorial booklet, as well as a series of character folders and the handouts for the adventure. And that is what we find when we take everything from Dreams and Machines, the role-playing game starter set. Outside the box. Once again, this is from Modiphius Entertainment. It is premiering at Gen Con on August 3rd. You can pre-order this right now. I'm guessing the MSRP is going to be $39.99. Can we see one on the back here? No. And it does not look like the SKU is giving us any indication of the MSRP either. But as I mentioned, you can pre-order it right now from Modiphius Entertainment. You will not get it until it launches, but you will get the PDF of the quick start immediately. So you've got that. So it's like 38 and change. That's why I'm saying it's probably going to have an MSRP of $39.99. I will have a review of Dreams and Machines, at least this starter set, in the very near future. So stay tuned. All right, that is it for this time out. Before I wrap up, did want to once again ask, if you don't mind voting real quickly, as Flaming Huron has joined us. It says, hey, eventually made it, but missed the entire stream. That's okay, there's Memorex. So, as I mentioned previously, I don't know what I was thinking last night when I was talking about, I'll be back on Tuesday. So, Tuesday's 4th of July, and I do believe it's also the Madman's birthday. So, a very happy birthday to the Madman in advance, if that happens to be the case. Anyway, so I had said, oh yeah, there's going to be a show. This is what I'm going to be taking a first look at. Well, that's not going to be the case. So, please vote. What would you like to see me do a first look at live a week from tonight? So next Thursday's show. So you've got 2 choices. One is Uncharted Journeys for 5e from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. And the other choice is Masters of Dune. How about if I show it the right way up? For Dune Adventures in the Imperium from Modiphius Entertainment. Wow, those guys sound familiar. So do me a favor and let me know right now in chat which one you would like to see. So Kathy Evans has voted for Dune. So please get your vote in as I wrap everything up. So if you were watching live tonight, thank you very much. Always appreciate you tuning in. If you took part in chat, thank you even more, because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as I'm looking through the, these first looks, doing the unboxings, sharing reviews, things like that. So thank you for that. But of course, not everybody gets an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex, because I really appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy lives to watch any of the videos here on the YouTube channel. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the YouTube channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Do me a favor and please give this video a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell, because that will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of the Pendragon starter set from Chaosium Inc. Yes, stay tuned. That is coming very soon, very shortly. Okay, so we've got Dune, Uncharted Journeys, Game Master's Hobby just stopped in. Or at least they're saying hello for the first time. So it's going to be Uncharted Journeys. So I will have a standalone video for a first look at Masters of Dune. I'll be shooting that this weekend as well. I would have done my review for the Pendragon starter set, but I have been working on replacing our deck. So, as you can tell, I have made sure to cover myself so that I'm not burnt to a crisp, and that smoky smell really, it's intoxicating. Thanks, Canada. Anyway, everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. If you're here in the U.S., have a wonderful 4th of July. Have a very safe 4th of July, too. I will be back next Wednesday, where we will be taking a first look at the Barracks Emperors from GMT Games. Yes, it will be yet another War Game Wednesday here on the Dispatch. And of course, here's hoping all of you out there get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.